Hello everybody and welcome. Thanks for joining me again today. This is a wee video here I meant to make a long time ago actually. Never actually got around to do it. I've done another one. You've probably seen the video I've done a long time ago on the PixAero lens. That 3.77mm one a long time ago, but I never actually showed an in-depth or close-up of inside the camera, how I took it apart or anything like that. So really I'll try and make this as quick as I can. I keep saying I'll make it as quick as I can and then I don't stop talking and I don't trim it all out and the thing ends up going on for hours. There's the little, it's hard to see it. You see them lenses there. The one on the left hand side is the stock 98-degree lens out of a standard typhoon H and the PixAero 8mm lens looks something very similar to that. The one on the right hand side is the Peau production 8.25mm lens. Also for this, get my cameras. There's a couple of different types of cameras here. That one there, it's hard to see, you can't see it, has a 98-degree lens which has already got the threaded mount fitted to the PCB inside the camera. I don't want to use that one because that'll be a good one to fit a 3.7mm lens to, because it's already got the threaded mount on. Ta-da! Here we go. Right, anyway, this here one is the 115-degree version lens in it. You can't really see too well because of the light conditions in here and the way I'm pointing the camera. As I was saying, sorry, I don't know what happened there, I got cut off, sorry. But you can't really see, this has got the 115-degree version lens in this camera here, which makes it ideal for converting the lens mount in. The ones with the lens mount pre-installed with the 98-degree lens with the actual threaded mount already in there, they're quite easy to swap for other lenses. Like the 3.77 or the 3.8mm, or they're that easy because you can screw the lens out, wee bit of tape, screw the new lens in, adjust the focus and glue it into place and lock it, and job's brilliant, done. The 115-degree one you can't because it's got a different type of barrel in there, a smooth barrel, and you can't actually, the lens is glued into place and you can't adjust the lens and it's not threaded. But it's actually easier to remove it off the board in this one. So give us a wee second, we'll put this away and we'll get a look at the camera. Right guys, so there's the camera there anyway. For this you're going to need a pretty wee small star head screwdriver, a wee small one. I have a selection of them here. I have a selection of tools. So that's dead handy, a wee small star head. That's what you need. You don't have to have these, but I find them very handy too. A small pair of tweezers. They're actually glasses. Tweezers, I think, with an angle tip on them. Very, very fine. Set of them. We'll probably need some other stuff as well. But also then, out of the pound shop, if you're in the UK, Pound World or something like that, there's a wee set of hobby knives with loads of different wee blades. And the perfect one really for doing the job is like a broad, chiseled, flat blade. If you can see that there, and that will be perfect for removing the lens mount from the board. So we'll do that in a bit. So it's dead easy to take the camera apart. Obviously take the lens filter off the front of the camera. The lens, then if you can get in, basically the front pops off the camera. Dead simple. 4 corners, don't take off the back plate, there's 4 screws across the middle, don't take them out, take the 4 corner screws out. This screwdriver is a little bit magnetic, which helps as well, because it holds the screws and we'll want somewhere safe to put them. I've got a wee container thing, I'll set them in there and set them to the side. So one screw, 2 screw. You maybe hear a rattle there. That rattling is just in the corners there, the plastic securing pins. Every time I lift them I always have to think to myself, what is that rattle? But that's exactly what it is. 4 screws, or 3 screws, sorry. And we'll get the 4th one. Where are you? Yep, bugger ye! In this corner. Where the hell? Anyway, right, so we've got the 4 corner screws out, and this front cover will now come off, and you'll see why I have the tweezers. Now it's a little bit fiddly, the antenna, and we'll get the antenna out. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky, although that one there wasn't too bad. And in there you can see now too, which is maybe not 100% clear, but see the red and black wires coming down to the top corners. This here's for the LED to shine through to the front, which is on the main board. The red and black wires, that's the internal microphones. If you were using this camera on a steady grip, then you can use its own built-in stereo mic, and that's why I have the tweezers to help pull them out. And actually, by the looks of it, that one there, I can see the brass of it. There's a wee black rubber that's still stuck inside, and now it's going to make a wire. See, that one's black, so there's a black rubber in here. That's going to make a wire. Let me come out. I'll get that out after, but there's a wee black rubber in there. We'll not worry about that for now. So there we go. So there's the camera. There's the inside of the camera. And the next thing we're going to do then is, well, other people have different ways of doing this. This is my way. It's the easiest way I find. There's 4 screws holding on the main PCB, and it also holds on this gyro, which is, the gyro is what keeps the whole thing. There's motor encoders in here too. In the motors there's magnetic motor encoders, but it also has a gyro, accelerometer, whatever you want to call it, on there, which helps maintain camera level. So there's 4 small wires on it, so you need to be extremely careful. This is another reason why I have the tweezers, to get in to let them screws out. Another one in this corner. Oh, it came out alright, that one. Tweezers is also handy for putting it back in. Then another 2 at the front corners here. I'm trying to do this so you can see as well, but it's a bit tricky. Trying to lean back here. And then there's one in this corner, so this is where you have to be careful, because the gyro or accelerometer wires are also down this corner. Removing the whole sensor PCB from the camera as well, removing everything, makes it that much easier to work at. See what I mean? There we go. That black cable coming up here, you see the white writing on it, that black cable coming up and the ribbon cable across, that's what goes to the sensor PCB, and that's where the actual camera information gets passed through that cable, that ribbon cable. Now we're ready to come off. So you need to be very careful with the gyro wires, you don't want to snap them off the gyro board. Here we can see the back of the sensor PCB now, which has the lens on it. There's a long here, there's a quick connector for the ribbon cable, but there's also a bit of like sticky back sort of 3M like tape stuff, and you want to try and peel it off. If you can see there, you want to try and peel it right off like so, and it's still sticky, so you want to keep it somewhere to the side where you can reuse that later and reattach that. And basically what you want to do is, along here, see the wee beige strip along here, it picks out forward towards you, straight up, and now this black ribbon cable will pop off the sensor board, like so. Ta-da! So that's that now off. So the camera's now disconnected. The only thing keeping it held on there is the 4 wires going to the accelerometer. So this is where you need to be careful. You don't want to break them. But once you get this off and removed, another 4 screws, and more or less you can't go wrong with these screws. So far the screws that we've all taken apart, except for the 4 that hold the black plastic on, are black screws. The rest are all silver and they're all the same size, so you can't go wrong. They're all self-tapper type for into the plastic. They're not machine threaded. So far all the screws are matching and you shouldn't have any problems. The last screw coming off. Maybe bugger you. Ta-da. And now, and then it hang gently. That's going to hang there. There we go. That's it off the camera. We're now completely free to work at the lens mount and do everything we need, and without having to worry about damaging the wires or nothing on the gimbal assembly. So we'll move that over to the side to later on, and we will come back to that later. Right guys, just for comparison, while we're here and I'm having a wee puff of my vape, on the right hand side you can see the 115 degree lens, and on the left hand side here you can see the 98 degree lens. Now I've already removed this off the camera. It's still, the lens is still glued on there, so it's still focused. It would just be a matter of reattaching this onto a sensor board and that would be it, ready to go. You can see the difference in them there, so you can see the difference. This one here on the left is a threaded mount at the bottom and is adjustable and is glued into place. That's the white glue, a bit like hot glue. This one here, however, is the lens slides down into this and it's already preset. The height is preset, pre-focused, pre-adjusted. There's no way you can adjust this. You can't screw it in or out. It's in there, it's glued, it's set, bonded, and there's nothing else you can do. People have pulled these out. People have managed to get the lens out of this barrel but it leaves a smooth bore. There's no thread inside there. There's a smooth bore and you can't fit another lens. If you look closely around the edges here too, at the base, you see there's a wee drop of glue, and I'll be doing the same thing eventually too, right around the whole side, the whole thing. It's a small white adhesive. It's not too hard to work with. This one, however, on this one, whenever it's mounted to the board, there's a black adhesive holding this on the mount onto the board, and it is an absolute bollocks to remove. I'm telling you now, it's not even funny. You have to be so careful. It's an awful lot harder. This white stuff here sort of comes off not too bad. You be very careful with the knife and you can get away with it, not too bad. This here is a bugger. You need to be very extremely careful removing these mounts if you ever have to remove these mounts. The black stuff is a nightmare. You need to get it all off to leave a smooth finish to fit your new longer extended mount on. And if you don't have it like smooth, it sits in an angle or maybe sits off a bit, you try to screw it tight and you screw the lens in. The lens doesn't fit flush, the focus doesn't fit flush or go flush against the lens, and then you have an out of focus lens on one side or one corner, so you have to have everything clean and flush. So I'm making this difficult for myself because I've got the camera directly in front of me. Hello! And I'm trying to turn it around here to focus on what I'm actually doing as well, to let you guys see what's going on. So it's a little bit tricky because I've got it directly in front of my face while I'm trying to work at this too. So the first thing I want to do, there's two small screws on the back of the lens that holds the mount in place, and these are obviously done, this is obviously done in the factory before the glue's applied. Now these two screws are slightly different than all the rest. They're slightly shinier than the rest. Keep them to the side. They're slightly longer and the thread is a bit more coarse on them. You keep them, you'll need them for your new mount. There's the other one out. As you can see, but the lens mount is still attached to the board. So this is the tricky part. So this is the tool I use. A nice flat, really flat chisel type blade. And what we're going to do is, we're not going to go hacking in at it or stabbing it and jabbing the crap clean out of it. We're going to try and go nice and easy in as flat as we can possibly go, don't want to dig in too much. If you dig in too much and you cut through some of the very small, you can't see it here, but there's actually wee small lines on that PCB board there, and that's actually copper track, which is coated in black, sort of like a black coating to protect it. If you cut through one of them bits of track, you're buggered. You're probably going to scrap the actual sensor altogether, the main bit you need. On the other side here, there's a couple of very small chips and resistors and stuff and diodes and stuff on this side here. You're not too worried about along the tops and the bottoms. That's okay, you can get away with. It's more or less along the side and in here, and you don't want to dig in. So I'll try my best to do this in front of the camera to let you all see. And I like to normally start up round where one of the screws goes. So we'll try it. So you see how I'm going to try and pay attention and get into this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Nice and smooth. You don't want to force it. You just want to. You don't want to go face down onto the board. So you definitely don't want to go face down onto the board. You want to try and get in. And you can see that lifting. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is why I always start at the edges here. So I'll come in round, and I'm sort of in below the screw there now, so I want to keep just wiggling it dead gently. I want to be very careful. You can see the blade. Cameras never pick up on metal too well, never. You can see down here it's starting to go white, which means it's starting to pull away. It's getting whiter, which means the glue's stretching. I'm starting sometimes doing these now. I've done loads of these now. I've lost count how many I've done. You don't want to go down and push in too far, you're going to hit the sensor lens, you're going to hit the actual sensor. But you want to maybe stop a bit there. You can see we're in. And maybe try and praise up a little bit, but you want to be extremely careful here. You can see I'm in below. I'll maybe go to the other side and do the other side now. I've got lucky a couple of times where I've done it and it's just popped off. Once I've got to a certain stage, it has just popped. Other times, not so lucky. If you damage this, you're done for, and you may as well just call it a day, as it'll be scrap. There, we're in. I can see the whole thing's all going white. Feel it moving, but I'm trying to be very, very careful here. Very careful. Just trying to work my way around. I can feel it sliding, I can feel it going, I can feel the whole thing moving. There's it going. Right, ta-da. Ta-da! And it's come off, there we go. Now the only thing is now you're left with this little bit of residue around the edges, and this is where it comes in, where you need to be very careful and be as flat as you can be. You want to get your knife and you want to get that, and you want to keep, see, it's hard to tell, but the blade obviously at the very tip is angled like that, so you don't want it to dig down. You want to try and keep it so the blade, it's like shaving. Imagine like a shaver. You want it so it's running nice and flush over the surface. You don't want it, it's like a chisel. If anybody's ever worked with wood either, it's a bit like maybe working with wood, like a wood chisel. You want the angle so that it doesn't dig into the wood as well. You want to just be very careful. You can see here now I have another one, slightly smaller. Maybe it's actually still too big. I have a selection of different blades here I use. There's another wee smaller angled one. I'm paying attention here to my own self, so sorry for. You can see the way I'm just being very careful. I'm only removing the glue, the white glue. I'm not even getting through to the black. Well, I'm getting through so you can expose the black coating, but you don't want to cut through the black coating. It's protecting the copper track on the PCB. Look, I'm nearly happy with that. You get to a certain point where you think that's enough. You know, you can see up round. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit with this here. Right, have a look at the sensor there. Now you can see up around the top hole, right smack above the middle of the sensor, that there's no glue left at all, but you can see down around the bottom here, there's a little bit still there. Otherwise, up this side, can you see all them wee bits in that black there? Can you see all them like lines up and down and around and stuff? That's all the copper track. And this corner, this side here, is one of the where you need to be most careful on this side. Some sensor PCBs do not have this wee connector on here. Some do. Some of them say CGO3 sensor, Sony. Some don't. It depends, and it's hit or miss. The 98-degree version doesn't, and it's a shinier finish without this connector on it. But both can be swapped into either cameras and still work. This one here is actually identical to the one that would come out of a CGO3 4K, even though this is on the CGO3 Plus. So we'll try and clean up this wee bit here. Ta-da! I'm happy with that. We'll leave that well alone now. So we'll, and it's another break. So now we're basically ready for the new extended long mount to be fitted on top, like so. We'll make sure it's all clean before we even go near it. And then, where's the lens? So there's the sensor board and there's the lens. And what I will do first here is, that's the lens in the mount. Well, it gets attached like so, and that will be the new 8mm lens. That will be the new 8mm lens fitted onto the sensor board. Forget about the sensor board for a wee minute. It's all done. We'll clean it up in a wee minute or two. We'll leave it. It's more or less completely finished, but we'll want to check to make sure the sensor is spotless before we do anything else. On the other hand, what you need to do is the lens, there's a tiny little bit of play in that lens there. Not a lot, but there's a tiny little bit. But what you're going to have to get is, if you can get your hands, don't worry about the face of the lens getting dirty at the minute. If you have something you can set it on, maybe needs to be pretty cloth or something there, work on a cloth. This is gas PTFE tape. It's a bit similar to the water PTFE tape. I don't know what anybody else calls it in America, but it's called PTFE tape. And the gas version of this is actually thicker than the water version, which actually works a lot better for this. Now sometimes, if I was doing this on a normal mount with a 3.7 or 3.8mm lens into the mount on a stock mount and a CGO3, like the one that's already on the bottom of this lens, it would only be one wrap of this, only one wrap of this. However, on this lens here, it's going to be two wraps. Now it's too broad, it's almost half an inch thick, maybe even broader. I want to make sure it's nice and clean. I must be full of static because it's sticking to me now. But what I want to do is, it's far too thick, we don't need that much. I'm going to try and cut this right down the middle. And it doesn't have to be perfect either. And it's easy to cut. Like I say, it doesn't need to be perfect. But you only need about 3 or 4 mil, not even 1/4 of an inch of this. That's loads. And you see where I cut that right down, that's loads there. So we'll not worry about cleaning the back of the lens at the minute. There's a certain way also around you want to put this here. That's the face of the lens which will be looking out. This is the back of the lens, and it goes round clockwise, because whenever you screw in clockwise, whenever it's round, you want it so that it doesn't try to screw the tape off. So there's a certain way you put PTFE on, and a plumber, if you know any plumbers or you are a plumber yourself, I think you will know that there's a reason for going that way, and it's to prevent the tape coming loose when you're screwing the pipework in. Sorry you can't see that crap. So I'm going to try and get it in nice and tight to the thread. You can see there it's in nice and tight, and I'm going to go around. There's one lap, and so I've already done one lap, and there's where it's joint there. If you can see that, you probably can't see that. And so we're going on, this is the second lap coming round, wrap, lap, whatever you want to call it. I'm around, and I can see where it's going to be joined. I know there's a lot more people that probably just maybe just don't be as careful. I don't know. Everybody has their own wee way of doing things. Almost perfect. I don't know if you can see that wee gap there where the second lap or wrap. See there. But anyway, so now that that's on, I just like to try and go round and round with my thumb a couple of times, with the finger and thumb, just to squeeze it into the threads and to make sure it's well fitted on there. It's not going to go nowhere. Nice good fit. Right, so now that's done, the next thing you want to do now is get a nice microfiber cloth, preferably for something for cleaning a pair of glasses. If you can hear that, a wee bit of steam, and you want to clean the back of the lens. And out of view where you can't see me doing this, I'm looking at this using the light above me here, reflecting the light off the lens, the back of it, to make sure I can't see a single speck of dust. I don't want a single speck on there. To me that's spotless there now. So it's done. I've got the lens mount here, I'm just giving it a good blow out. Right, just check the back of the lens again. Back of the lens seems fine. You won't see it there, but to me it seems perfect. And now get it under the mount. You want to make sure you don't cross thread this, but you want to get it started in the first few threads. That looks off to me. The last thing you want is to cross thread it, so check it and be very, very careful. The threads in these here are very, very fine, so you don't want to cross thread, or if you cross thread you'll be wrecked and you'll never get focus. I'm happy that's in. It's in perfect. We'll not screw too far. We'll give it a little bit more. And it's nice and tight and it's snug in there now. It's definitely a good fit. Let's check it all around. See me shaking. Looks like it's in nice and straight. It's took well. The threads are in, and now that's ready. So as you see, we installed the lens into the mount. The lens is hopefully still spotlessly clean in there. We don't want to touch it. Just want to give a wee rub around where we had been working earlier on as well. Give it a good blow, and you want to do the same as what I did the last time. You get your microfiber cloth. The sensor, you do not want any dirt. You don't want to touch the sensor. So far I've took this apart and I haven't once touched that with my finger. So you do not want to touch the sensor with your finger. You want to sort of try and reflect it in the light and look closely. I'm going to lift it out of the way of the camera for a second here because I want to check it. So right, I'm happy with that now. Right, so remember we kept 2 wee screws from earlier on for the sensor board. It's spotlessly clean. You might be able to see the reflection there. I know there's nothing on it. You want to be very careful. Take your lens mount with your lens, place it over the top, and don't worry about getting your fingerprints on the top of the lens because we can replace this or clean this after. Turn it round, and you want to make sure your wee holes are lining up to the holes in the sensor board. Get one of your wee screws. And there we have it. There we go. It's installed. That's it done. And then I just like to go round where the original glue was with a wee bit of hot glue. Yeah, nice good job. There we go. Looks a wee bit messy, but we'll hurry about that. You'll not see it once it's in. Right guys, so now the lens is in. Obviously a bit out of focus and stuff here, sorry. The lens is in, it's been sort of glued to the board again. Not worried about it being a wee bit too messy here. Probably would have liked to do it a bit neater, but unfortunately I have a camera in front of me. The lens is pretty tight, but it can be moved, so not worry. So now it's a reverse procedure again, and it's now time to start reinstalling everything into the camera. Right, so you want to do it again, sorry, so you want to do it, so the white strip, we're going to reinstall now the connection on the left with the accelerometer gyro on the black mount. You want to drop it in again and be very, very careful. And this is where sometimes I find my tweezers come in handy. Always something wrong. And then you can probably see I like to try and screw the screw out until I feel it click, and then I know it's lined up with the threads. Do not over tighten these. The same again, screw them in until you feel that bite and you know it's home and give it a little nick. Bear in mind, always be very careful. If you snap one of the gyro wires off, you're in trouble. Right, so we'll raise up this wee bit of plastic again, get the wee microphones out of the way. That can be a little bit tricky. You want to try and get the ribbon cable back in nice and easy. And there's a wee line on it. You should see the line up. I don't know if you can see it here because of reflections and stuff, but the wee line goes in. Once it's in, snap down the wee white connection again. Make sure it's home. And remember earlier, the wee bit that we picked off, remember that wee bit? It's still sticky. We'll line it over the top again. Set it back down. Try and hold it. Keep it firm. Press that all back on. Right, flip it upside down. Now you see the wires for the gyro over onto the left corner here too. You need to be careful they don't get trapped below. And that seems fine to me. We're on. We'll probably start with that wee corner one. It's a little bit. This wee corner one is the fiddliest thing behind the ribbon cable. It's one of the fiddlier ones to get. So I like to get my tweezers, get up in, drop it in, get my screwdriver, come down in from above. Ta-da! And that's us done. The only thing is your wee microphones there, just pull them out of the way. That's the lens mounted in. The camera, as you can see, it's needs the rest of it on. It's a wee bit rear heavy. But there we go. That is the Pro Production or Peau, I don't know. The Pro Production lens, the 8.25mm lens installed, ready now for focusing. So that'll be basically it. Once we set the focus, then again I'll get around here, around the top of the mount, another wee drop of hot glue around there once I set the focus, and then build it all back together, and that'll be it, ready to go for testing. Right guys, well thanks very much for watching anyway. As you can see, that was the lens, old lens out. Showed you how I removed them from the board, refit the new one, wee bit of hot glue around. That took longer than normal because I had the camera right in front of my chest here while I was leaning over trying to work at the camera so you could see everything. Normally you can probably do a lens change in about half an hour from start to finish, maybe a bit faster if you really wanted to rush it. But say if you're first time doing it, give it an hour, maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit less. It just depends on your skill level, but it doesn't take a lot of skill really. The next thing will be to set the focus, bit of hot glue around the lens to make sure it doesn't move again while you're in flight, although it's pretty tight. And then rebuild the cover, put the covers back on, put the microphones in, put the cover back on, put the antenna back into its place correctly, pop the front fascia on, and that'll be good to go. Right guys, take care, thanks for watching. That was it. The next video will be me, if I get a chance tomorrow or over the next day or two, the next video will be me showing you. I'll take this into the house, I'll put the ST16 onto the TV, I'll record while I'm actually doing it so you can see the focus blur and stuff while I go one way and go the other, center it, mark it, and hopefully we'll be good to go. So that'll be in the next video, that'll be in part number 2. But that's the lens installed, ready now to be focused. Okay guys, thanks for watching. A bit of a long video there, I know. Tried to keep it short. It never happens with me. It never happens. A short video to me is an hour. Right guys, take care, thanks for watching. We'll get you again soon. That was a long overdue video. Should have done that a year ago. Right, bye bye, see you later.